So Michael and Lauren, you guys you're in the process of like furthering your own like preparation for, is it okay to say, for something significant? It feels like your dream and your vision is to begin to articulate a theology for a new generation. Am I saying that too broadly, or is that about it?
Yeah, no, I like that actually.
Okay,
it's very
all right.
well
You can use it.
yeah. So we're both students getting a Ph.D., both studying the same degree, getting Ph.D. in public theology. And it's been a lot of fun to be in that journey together.
Yeah.
And so part of that has been learning to become better writers. And so we're excited both with our PhD journey, getting to learn and grow ourselves, but then also our writing has given us the opportunity to release our first book coming up here soon, and getting to just have honest, intentional conversations around our generation's engagement in the Bible. And so we've both had our own experiences of having questions and diving in and digging into the Bible. And our generation is the most biblically illiterate generation, as far as the generations we have data on. And so we want to get to have conversation and encourage millennials. Hey, why don't we dive in and read the Bible ourselves?
And so Dave Kinnaman at Barna Research was talking with him recently about some stuff that he's discovered about millennials, and it's both. I'm encouraged by it, frankly. There is a whole swath of millennials that are kind of written this entity of the church off, and they don't know what to do. There's a group that is there, but they're just kind of there. Then there's a group that's resilient. That was the word that I think David was using, that the story is theirs. And it just felt like, first of all, I was so encouraged by that, and then so intrigued by how does that then catch fire to all of the others of this generation?
Right.
How does that work? How do you guys see millennials being invited into the story?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And we used a lot of Kinnaman and Barna's research to help solidify our own personal experience. Because in the book, we wanted to make sure that it wasn't just a editorial of what our perception was, but do we actually see this happening beyond our own personal experiences? And Kinnaman and their research helped a ton with that, because what they said is exactly what you just referenced, that you have a very committed minority of about 15-20% of millennials that are just solid and want theology. I mean, on Monday night at our home, I had a group from our church, a large group of guys that are mostly in their 20s and 30s that are reading big, thick theology books because they just want to know everything they can know about the Bible. And then you have a group that's the complete polar opposite, that once again is about 20%, that are skeptical or even hostile towards the Bible, have no interest in it, have written it off. But you have in the middle the vast majority, nearly 2/3, that are either at worst neutral to the Bible and at best friendly, are interested in the Bible, but don't regularly engage with it in the way that this first group does. And so that's what we were writing to, was that group in the middle, to try and say, we address all three throughout, but we really wanted to give an appeal to this group that could really go either way, to say, hey, I don't care if you have come to your understanding of the Bible because of the teaching from Dr. Richard Dawkins or Dr. Billy Graham. Have you read it? Have you read it for yourself, or are you just taking what others have told you about the Bible as gospel? We want to encourage both sides. Read the Bible for yourself, and you might find that you end up finding some truth.
What I love about what you're saying and the way you guys are approaching this is that when you go into this yourself, you will have questions.
Right.
If you're going to intellectually engage Scripture, you will have questions.
Yeah.
What we found at our church, what I'm hearing you guys say is, it's okay. The questions are a part of the journey. Mm-hmm. Do you think that most millennials, is that the message that they've heard, that questions are okay? How have they received, what's their perception of the Christian approach to questions about stuff like this?
Right. No, I think that the perception, unfortunately, has been that you shouldn't have doubts or questions. And that's why with our book, we're really wanting to just open the door for that honesty of saying, look, we've had our own questions and wrestled with that. And we've come through each of our questions being grateful that we had the chance to wrestle, because we learned something from each time we had to process through something, and learned and grew from it. And if we truly want to base our lives off of the Bible, then we should be willing to test that truth against what other worldviews are saying or what secular culture is saying, and test things against the Word to ask for ourselves, is if this is what I'm basing my life off of, does it have the validity?
Yeah,
Can
it
it
better be
stand
true.
on its own feet?
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
is it true? And is it the foundation,
Right.
the firm foundation that I really do think it is? And so, we were grateful to have had many mentors and people in our lives that helped guide us in that journey, and know that it's okay. It's okay to bring your tough questions to the Bible. The thing that we always came back to was that we were engaging in the Bible, reading the Bible for ourselves, and it takes time. It takes some opportunity to wrestle with the questions, and we hope that as thoughtful people, we will be encouraged to engage in the Bible and understand.
And to your point, I do think in some ways that was unique in our experience, that I'm not sure that every millennial that has grown up in church, I think often whenever they do start to question and wrestle, turn to a pastor or a parent who, in an effort to ground them in truth, says, well, you shouldn't be thinking this way, let me adjust your thinking, rather than relationally joining them on the journey of, well, let's wrestle with your doubt together. Let's discover truth side by side with one another. And that's one of the kind of core principles of the book that we wanted to subconsciously give to the reader, was we're not afraid of your questions. We're struggling there with you. In other words, we're not trying to say, this is dogmatic truth, this is what you should believe, but we want to show you a way to approach those questions conversationally, not in a teacher-student relationship, but in a peer relationship.
So when I hear that, though, then this really will be a book not just for millennials.
Right.
This will be a book for when you use a word like mentor. My experience with millennials is that they are, like we all are craving mentors.
Yeah.
And you're saying that mentors need to really rethink how they come at these questions with someone instead of just solving it or tamping it down, but walk with them. So this is really for millennials and that next generation or so up
Yeah.
to learn how to do this together.